Bush podcast, fucking Dan Bush podcast. So we were talking about abortion and when does a human become a human? And he just laid out. He posed a question that I wasn't listening to. So if you don't mind posing that question again for us,
Well, going way back, I said
rewind.
a person, everything about them, their individual characteristics, their personhood, their
Determined
height, the color
at
of their eye
conception.
is determined at conception.
Yes.
Your DNA starts then. And I asked Matt when he thought a person became a person. When
Right.
is a person? When do they become?
When does a
themselves?
person become a person?
And
Right.
why is the view? I think of a lot of pro-choicers. Why is the view that you become a person when you are born? What does the vagina do to you that suddenly confers personhood upon you just because you're born? What difference occurs?
You're born. That would be that. Like I think that's it. Like it's that simple. That is the difference being born. But also, abortions aren't done in late term pregnancies. They're usually done when it is literally like
Okay. So will you admit that late term ones are wrong and that early ones are wrong? I mean, I'm not talking about when. I'm talking about what difference occurs. Like, when do you consider them a person? Even if there's one late-term abortion which you permit, which legally is allowed in many states in this nation.
not late term abortion. No,
Many of them are illegal.
because of the risk to the mother. They're not late term abortions.
They're legal.
not-
they're
no,
legal
they're
in many states.
They're not.
No, you're completely wrong.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you don't think so, but you don't know so. I'm telling you that there are states.
I'm
in this
pretty
state,
sure
in this state here, you can still
you're
get an
wrong.
abortion late term.
And I'm not.
That's not a national law. Roe v. Wade left it up to the states.
Yeah,
You're
and
just
I'm pretty sure
misinformed.
there aren't states that allow abortion.
There are plenty of states. There are still late-term abortions. Have you ever heard of a stillborn abortion? Or
No,
a partial birth
because
abortion?
it's still
I'm sorry,
born.
partial birth. Partial birth is the
birth?
right word.
Never.
Those occur. Partial birth means you give birth to the head of the baby. I'll call him an individual, a person, and then the doctor crushes them and kills the child. These happen.
never
Not
heard
in
of
as high numbers as maybe early abortions, but I'm going right back to the point right before birth. What?
But I think there's a
is it
difference
okay to?
between like that kind of abortion and the
So
legally sanctioned.
what
abortions.
changes between the moment I'm born and the moment I'm in the womb? I'm still the same size. I'm still the same.
Yeah.
I still have all the same.
The only thing that
faculties
changes
about
is that
me.
you're now.
So
no
my
longer
personhood
inside.
is not protected. The woman can still choose me up to a minute before giving birth.
Not legally, but I don't give a shit. I think it's fine.
Why don't you give a shit? You don't think that's killing a baby? What would
No,
you
it
be?
definitely is killing a baby. I just don't give a shit. See what I'm,
So you're okay with murder? I mean, why don't you give a shit? Are you okay with killing people for any reason you wish? Oh, I don't want this person. I'm going to kill them.
It depends what they've done.
Okay, well, an unborn baby has done nothing.
Right.
And a born baby has done nothing. Neither have done anything wrong. I mean,
Right, but it's possible
if this
that
is a death penalty question about, like, do you have a right to kill somebody? I mean, self-defense, death penalty, I think you do have the right, but an innocent child because you don't want them.
I think-
Your
I think
personal feelings don't matter in
if-
that situation.
the child is being born into a situation, say like some white trash trailer park, alcoholic
Okay.
mother, alcoholic father, and the child is going to experience
I've heard that.
but
Okay.
nothing but suffering.
So
and
the
it probably
argument that
gonna
their
be
life is
nothing
going
but-
to be miserable. I understand it. I've heard this argument many times. But that means you have the right to kill them?
Yeah.
They don't have a right to life because their life might face some hardship. That the more humane thing to do would be kill them.
I think
Why not kill
I think
retarded?
you'd be causing less suffering to.
Okay,
the
if I have a
entire
5-year-old
planet
if I have a
by
5-year-old
ending that
child,
child's life.
if I have a 5-year-old child that develop autism, should I have the right to kill them? I can just kill my child.
Well, they don't develop autism at 5.
What if I have an elderly mother who is in pain? Do I have the right to just kill them?
If they would like to be killed, I believe.
Okay, so what if a child wouldn't like to be
suicide.
killed? What if I wouldn't be like to be killed?
Well, I think there becomes a difference when you gain cognitive abilities and you have the ability to say, like, no thanks, don't kill me, please.
So before that, it's okay. Like if I have a 1-year-old child, I can kill them. If I'm just like, well, you know what? I don't have the money to support this child. I can kill them, and then there's no repercussions. There's nothing wrong with that, whether legally or morally. You don't think there's anything wrong with that?
Legally, yes. Morally, I don't think so.
Well, that's weird. What's the basis for the legality if not morals?
Well, I don't agree with all laws, but laws are made by society, and society determines these laws, and if that's what society agrees upon, then...
So it's not murder? Or is it murder?
Well, it is. You're definitely fucking killing
Okay,
someone.
so how is that different from killing somebody a minute before they're born?
So, because we were talking about killing a kid...
I'm
killing a kid at one.
You're saying you have no problem with abortion, but you see there's at least a legal problem with killing a 1-year-old, right? But then what is the difference legally from killing a 1-year-old versus someone who's about to be born a minute before giving birth?
There isn't, because as far as I
So then you agree with me that people should be legally prosecuted for having an abortion at that point?
I think they are.
They're not.
I think so.
You can have partial birth abortions in some states in this country. It's not a federal law.
I don't think...
Partial birth abortions occur.
Yeah.
Planned Parenthood is profiting off them.
I don't think that's true.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you're right, this changes
federal law does
my
not prohibit...
opinion.
Well, when do you think abortion is okay? Regardless whether it's right or wrong.
When
do you think abortion is permissible in terms of how many weeks of pregnancy? And why?
Well, I don't care. I mean, I think abortion...
Look, that's an entire separate argument. I have a problem with that, and I think you're having a short-sighted view of morals. But yeah, I'm asking you...
I have very, very horrible morals.
I think you don't in your actions, but you do in your thought, and that's just your introspective thought. You haven't come to full term with your actions, because I don't think you would kill a child. Yeah. And I think you're just lowering your own standard in terms of other people for a misguided reason.
But I'm saying I don't give it, like, I wouldn't care if someone else... I wouldn't...
You don't care if someone murders somebody?
No, I do. Well, it depends.
Why? Why do you care? I don't think you fully confronted your own intuitions.
Like, I wouldn't like to be murdered. Yeah, but if you're a 1-year-old child that doesn't really have cognitive ability...
Let's stop there. You wouldn't like to be murdered, right? Do you realize you're conferred that by your inalienable rights? Do you understand the difference between negative rights and positive rights? You have a right not to be murdered.
Right.
Your rights as a human are things that are not allowed to be done to you.
Yeah, but...
And everybody has those. I don't think you value individual rights at a high enough level as collective right. You're inheriting... You're arguing for some sort of collective right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading up on partial birth abortions. So far, there's this one case I found.
I don't think these are the norm, but I'm saying they happen.
Oh, they're not. Yeah.
And there's plenty of abortions that are happening after 20 weeks when you have fingernails, you have legs and arms.
No, 20 weeks is the limit.
Not in all states.
I think that's the national.
Plenty of states have on-demand abortion at any level.
I don't think that's true.
Look up federal abortion.
This is what I'm doing. Federal bot.
No, just type law.
Good idea. I'm so bad at the fucking internet. The Hart Amendment. Extremely low, narrow exceptions. Okay, so there are exceptions.
That's called federal funding, Matt. That's not is it legal or not. It's whether the government is going to pay for you to do it.
I was just reading keywords. Shit.
Well, you missed.
I did. You're right.
The keywords.
Yeah. I missed the entire context of the keywords that I read. Federal Medicaid funding, abortion ban. 20-week ban. All right, federal and state. Okay. For years, anti-abortion politicians have been pushing an unconstitutional nationwide 20-week ban.
Can we go back to the word unconstitutional? You know how loaded that is? There's no constitutional amendment
why
that
would
guarantees you an abortion.
But why the hell would the writers, the authors of the Constitution, have any idea that abortion?
First of all, this is a skewed article, so they're writing that. Second, I'll say that the Constitution doesn't tell you what you can do, and it never has, and it never will. The Constitution tells you what the government can't do to you.
Yeah.
So there's a very important distinction. So this is a loaded term.
Yeah. But I'm also saying it's also, like, of course it's fucking unconstitutional.
How is it unconstitutional?
I mean, in the sense that it's not in the Constitutional. In the Constitution.
What, to seek a law that bans murder? That's not seeking an amendment to the Constitution. It's seeking a law. Laws are different from what the Constitution has. The Constitution permits for a Congress and a legislator that can enact laws. It doesn't say what those laws can and can't be unless it's in terms of violating rights. So the only way it would be unconstitutional, in the word unconstitutional, is if telling people they can't murder their unborn babies is a violation of their personal rights. I don't think people have a right to choose. That's the argument. I have a right to choose murder. You don't. And you know what? People, my body, my choice. Yes, your body, your choice. I don't care what you do with your lungs, your kidneys, your esophagus, your leg, your arm. I don't care what you do with your body. I care about the body that's growing inside of you that you think you can violate the rights of that individual human being. Do whatever you want with your body. There's a body in you.
Yeah, but it's your body.
Yeah, it's your body to do with what you want, but there's another individual person with their own rights. They're their own body.
No, this is where our disagreement is. You also, I would like to acknowledge, you just fucking schooled me on my knowledge of the Constitution because you're fucking right and I was wrong about that. But
I like the Constitution.
It's a pretty damn good document. I'm glad Jesus wrote it for us.
He did. No, but that's the thing about the Constitution. It's not unique to it's this Western thing.
I had a thing.
Anyway.
Why did we disagree? Oh, yeah. No, I don't remember.
I said a woman does not have the right
to choose
to murder something in her body.
She would be violating the rights that you believe
of an individual person
all right, I just remember.
Who has their own rights that should be protected.
Right. We disagree on when an individual becomes an individual, which is the original question you posed me, which I still haven't answered. And I don't know exactly, but I firmly believe cognitive functions, the ability to start to try to figure things out, plays a big part in it.
That doesn't really occur until at least a year, maybe 2 years out of the womb.
Yeah.
So is it okay to kill a baby before that? A born baby,
legally,
1 year old.
Legally, no, but depending on the circumstances, like if it was just a mother that was just like, or like parents that were just like, oh fuck, we had a kid and now the baby's crying, like,
bam.
Yeah.
Okay, why not? That's the same as convenience. That's why you have an abortion. Oh, it's inconvenient.
No, it is
right now. Your convenience does not usurp the rights. I mean, my right to convenience does not overwhelm my right to not murder you right now. If it was convenient for me to murder you, okay, we would not have a society. That's exactly what Hitler did. He said it was convenient for me to murder the Jews, and my convenience is overwhelming their right as a human. I believe that a person has human rights, has rights as a human, as we recognize from the moment of conception. And then I put the burden of proof on you. When is there a significant enough change in the development of a human, or what happens? Is it coming out of the vagina? Because you can be born, 2 months premature and still survive on your own.
Right, yeah.
When are those rights conferred upon you, and how can we say definitely?
Legally? I'm not sure, and this is where the debate is. The national debate is.
It is.
Yeah.
I
agree with you that
I'm glad you can get to the crux of it, though, because a lot of people will abandon the crux. They'll say, like, oh, well, my body, my choice, and that defeats you.
Yeah.
You're unwilling to confront the crux of the argument. And this is the thing. The abortion argument is incredibly simple. Do you believe it's a life or not?
Right.
If it's a life, then you can't touch it. If it's not a life, you can do whatever you want with it.
I agree with you there, yeah.
That's where the argument is. But many people will not confront that.
Yeah, and I think our disagreement and the national disagreement, I think I might even be more extreme than the pro-choice people. Actually, I don't think that I definitely am. But the debate is, when is a life?
Right.
And I'm kind of split in the right in the middle of it, because I agree with you that life, without a doubt, this is scientifically a fact, starts at conception. When the sperm hits the egg, a new life form has begun. Without a doubt. But if that life form was to be develop and then later be born into a world where it would experience nothing but suffering due to its circumstances of birth, and then because of that, it probably would then inflict nothing but suffering onto other people because of its, I think, until it has the ability to not say, because I think this happens before we can speak, but the ability to be like, hey, don't kill me, like, to at least, like, think, like,
okay, so,
I don't want to die.
So you're saying is the greater good, essentially. It's a utilitarian argument.
Yeah.
What is the greatest possible good, right?
Yeah. So, but I actually honestly believe that some places there should be, like, a parent test. Like,
all right,
for parents, and
you're throwing a lot at me.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
The fundamental difference here is you're not valuing the rights of an individual. You're saying, like,
I'm saying when an individual becomes an individual is where.
Okay, now you're going back on what you said.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so
this
you
is
agree.
What I was trying to say. I guess.
All right, let me posit it. You just conceded that a person starts at conception, right? So they're not an
starts at conception.
So are they not an individual then?
No.
When do they become an what is the difference? Could they be somebody else? Could they be somebody else besides themselves?
No.
Then how are they not an individual, unique person? And you're also throwing at me this idea that we can violate an individual's rights, and this is separate from abortion in just terms of rights, born, unborn, whenever we're going to consider them a life. But the idea that I can violate a person's individual right for the greater good of the collective. And I mean, my point is that society will be most flourishing underneath a system where we value the individual's rights. And I mean, if you want to talk about, is this person going to be born into a situation where they're going to be facing human suffering? I mean, there's no better place you can be born than in America right now. Well, I mean, no matter what your circumstances are.
We have a pretty damn good. I think there are better places, but all right,
damn good?
That's besides. I'm just semantics. Sorry.
America is the greatest place on the country. I mean, in the world.
You heard it, folks.
The best place in the world. I mean, there's no place where you have so much opportunity and so much chance to prosper.
I think there are plenty of places over Europe, like Australia.
But you got to realize something about what made America unique was when we broke away from the European way of viewing. If you want to talk about Japan basically adopted our way of living. I mean, they did not live like us until after World War II. And then they lived like us, and guess what? They did really well.
It has evolved in its own way.
Okay,
so
sure.
You're absolutely right.
There's culture and government. There's culture and government constitution. Their constitution is formed exactly like ours. We basically push their...
You're right. Yeah.
And then their culture flourished within it. And what I'm saying is that it's not necessarily our culture. I don't think you're automatically...
All right, we are back. We don't remember what we were talking about that much earlier. But right now we're discussing the chart.
Fascism.
Right wing, left wing.
Fascism versus
authoritarian.
Communism, right?
What he said.
Fascism and communism are closer to one another than either are from any political philosophy or perspective that is currently existent in the United States.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Communists are so close to fascism, and fascism are so close to communism, and people will not reconcile the two.
And it's funny, they think that
They call Donald Trump a fascist, and it's laughable. Donald Trump supports your right to free speech. He supports your right to own a gun. Fascists will not let you own a gun.
Yeah.
Nobody of any fascist system ever supports a armed populace. And this goes to the Second Amendment. Like, people talk about the Second Amendment is your right to defend yourself. It's not. It is not your right to defend yourself. It is the right of the people to be armed against a tyrannical government. It is an insurance policy that it's called separation of powers. It is an insurance policy that the government cannot rule the people because the people themselves are armed and able to stand up to their
Constitution.
That is what the Second Amendment is about.
Dude, we should be allowed to own tanks and shit like that.
The Jews?
Because how are we going to defend ourselves against our government if they have tanks and shit and we're armed with our AR-15s?
Irregardless, I mean, an armed populace will be able to fight against them. My point is,
irregardless,
the Jews, the reason they feared Nazi Germany because it was disarmed. Nazi Germany would not have happened if they knew they knocked on every Jew's door and that Jew had a gun in their hand.
Yeah,
when people, and this goes to a bigger point that I think is very prominent for foreign policy in current America and the idea of peace and demilitarization. Everybody is for peace. And what's pushed on the left is this idea of like, we're for peace, you're not for peace, right? And they want demilitarization, right? It's a fucking joke. Because you know what happens when you demilitarize? You get the opposite of peace. You get war. Because the bad guys stand up.
If you want, The Simpsons did a great thing on that.
Are you going to oppose evil in the world through weakening yourself? Or are you going to do it through military deterring them with military power? Military power in the hands of good is going to result in peace more times than it is if you disarm yourself and let tyranny and evil rise stronger than you. That is precisely what caused World War II.
I agree with that, but the British went and negotiated with Hitler. The United States is necessarily doing great.
The British went and they negotiated with Hitler. They came back and said, "Peace for our time." This was the quote.
The appeasement, dude.
Peace for our time. He's agreed to not do anything evil, and then boom, we're going to weaken our governments. The treaty after World War I said, not weaken our governments, weaken our military. Sorry. The treaty after World War I, the French and the British engaged in massive disarmament, and it resulted in the rise of tyranny. This is the problem. People say, like, oh, America should weaken its military. We should not be so militarily strong. Through military strength, peace is achieved.
Yes.
And it's not a matter of morality and fairness. It's a matter of effectiveness.
Can I please interrupt you for a second? Yes, I agree. Military strength ensures peace.
Yeah.
But our military budget is way out of whack. And we are... What?
Do you know the numbers?
The actual numbers?
What percentage of government spending is used towards military?
Something like 10.
It's like 30.
Well, all right, cool. But I do know that our our budget is, you add, I don't know the fucking numbers. I should.
Well, let me tell you something.
But I do know our budget, or our military budget is, you can add up the next, like, second player.
Okay.
My second highest is half as high as my highest.
I understand what you're saying. Okay. I mean, I could pause at least 3 things to you right now. Let me keep track in my head.
All right, First of all, let me get back to what I was saying.
No, I got a response.
I haven't finished what I was saying.
Saying that we overspend versus any other country.
I'm saying that I agree with you that a strong military ensures peace for your nation. That I will not.
Fourth thing.
Absolutely. Does, but I'm saying is we're taking it too far.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
That's all I'm saying.
I understand that, all right? First of all, it is a primary function of the government, before anything else, to have a military and to protect its people.
Yeah. I'm just saying we're taking it too far.
That this is
we have too
Okay,
much.
I have many responses to you. I've got like 4 things I'm trying to get to. Continue. It is a primary function for us to provide a military for our people and ensure them freedom. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Secondly, our budget, yes, it is bigger than any other government in the world, perhaps. But do you know that there are so many governments that rely on us for our military strength? Look at NATO, the NATO agreement. And now more governments are spending.
NATO.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And what Trump just accomplished in NATO is he's forcing other countries that weren't spending up to 2% of GDP on their military to nut up.
I've been avoiding it.
And it was either we're out of NATO or you guys start paying into your own military. Is either you, right?
It's pretty good. Yeah.
or else we're out.
I agree with that.
So all
Well,
these
I think
governments are stepping up.
That's a
Third,
great idea.
It is a great idea.
We should force.
It's just what Trump did.
Saudi Arabia should be fighting ISIS. They have the third strong. I don't know the numbers. They're up there in the strongest military globally.
Anyway, all right, whatever.
And they have the most to lose
I was trying to get
from
to
a strong ISIS.
Yes, they do. Yes. What I'm trying to say is that it's not our military spending that is out of control in this country. There are many other things that are in the federal budget that are out of control in terms of spending that are pushing into our debt. The military is not responsible at all for the debt we face. It's all in Medicaid, Medicare, Obamacare, and entitlements that we are giving to people. That is over 60% of what the government is spending.
It was the war in Afghanistan and Iraq that blew our debt up.
Sure. All right. Two things.
Actually started our debt.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Okay, Bush's war was a huge spending thing, right? So Bush's
policies.
All right. So Bush took over
to regulating the banks and how they were loaning was huge. We had a huge economic crash because of that.
Bush put our deficit up to about $10 trillion, right?
No, that was during Obama that it got up that high.
You're not listening to me.
Dude, it was only like 3 when Bush left.
No, all right, you're wrong on that because Bush put it to about $10 trillion. All right, so throughout the history of America, we've built up to about $10 trillion for a large amount of presidents. We have a $10 trillion debt. Then Obama takes over and he leaves office. What's the debt? $20 trillion.
Yeah.
Obama put $10 trillion in debt in his 8 years than any other American president had, and built up to $10 trillion. He doubled it. He literally doubled the national debt through spending in entitlement programs and spending in Medicaid, Medicare. Those account for more than our military even comes close to.
I think those are necessary. I think those are necessary, but there's a huge problem with people who don't deserve the benefits receiving the benefits. We're losing a lot of money because of those people.
Yes.
We need to figure out how to get it so that the people who deserve benefits and the people who don't deserve benefits.
Are you hungry?
We're doing a podcast. We're trying to get famous.
Oh, right now?
Yeah, right now.
Right.
We're having political debates with each other.
Is it 2 of you?
Yeah. We're going to get famous. Get out of here. You're ruining it. We're live on the internet right now, Mom. Get out of here.
Do you want something food? I'll make you some.
We'll come up for some food.
Yeah. We're not done. We'll
be
give
up.
us some plates or something. Sorry. Meatloaf!
Dude, the military is not the reason the budget is blown up. It is not. And,
and
even if it were, that is the one function of government that we should be supporting is a strong military, foreign and
Okay, in our budget there are so many fucking oversights. So many.
Yeah.
And I think
I agree with
the military
I want smaller government.
The military is one of those oversights.
Military is a necessity of government. It's the one thing they're absolutely authorized.
I don't know if I'm in favor of smaller government. I think I'm more in favor of a more efficient government.
Okay, fair enough. Let me run with that.
So
right?
obviously,
Can I run with it?
It would shrink if it was more efficient.
Okay,
the size would shrink.
Let me run with it. Can I run with it?
Yeah,
because it's good. Dude. Government can't be efficient because it cannot be as efficient as the private enterprise is. Private markets are always more efficient. People come along, you're quote unquote greedy capitalist, and I'll even take issue with the word greed as if it's a bad thing. Greed is good. People being greedy is an absolute good thing because it means everyone gets richer and everyone is doing better.
I disagree with you there.
Besides that, private enterprise is always more efficient and more effective because
I disagree with you.
The
bigger they grow, they become bureaucracies just like government.
No. Listen, when you have a business and you are putting capital on the line, I know what your issue is with big corporations, right? It's crony capitalism. No, there's a lot of things, Matt. I want to unpack.
But I really like.
Can I unpack a dozen things?
Well, hold on. You're just saying things that I disagree with, and I like to
I haven't even said them yet.
You've said before you even get there, I disagree with you.
Let me unpack them, and then I'll let you respond. I promise
I'm
I'll let you
gonna
respond.
forget them though. I'm drinking and smoking.
Let me unpack these issues. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Private enterprise is always more effective than government enterprise for a few different reasons. And the main thing is in a private business, Let's just take a small business, for example. It could be a big business, a small business, right?
Yeah, you're right on small business. I think it's when businesses, government is trying to do such a big job.
Yes. No, let me get to it, because I know what, dude, trust me that I know what you're trying to say, because I disagree with the overstrength of big business. I agree completely with you that the banks have gone too powerful.
Think of the bureaucracy of it.
Yes, the bureaucracy. I take the same issue, but from a different perspective. And I just want to flesh it out with you, okay?
Yeah, let's go.
Private enterprise is always more efficient than government enterprise because you are motivated by different things. In a private business, you are only motivated by profits. You want to get rich, so you must be efficient, you must be effective, or else you fail. In government, it does not matter if you are inefficient because you will always have taxpayer dollars to fill you. This is why government-funded projects are wasteful, and they will always be wasteful, not case by case, but just in case by case, but not because of that, because they are inherently wasteful. As a government project, you are using money. When you are using money in a private enterprise,
they're not trying to lose money.
They're not. I'm not saying they're not trying to lose money. They obviously don't want to lose money, but they inherently will. And this gets to something I want to get down the road. I will get there, I promise you. But private enterprise is always more effective because you only succeed if you make a buck. And when you make a buck, you want to make dollars, you want to be successful, you are inherently having a better business. This is why Trump ran on the slogan, ahead of schedule, under budget. Or it was the other way around. But that's it. Yeah. It's when your own money is riding and you want to make dollars, you will find every way possible for your own personal self-interest. Adam Smith says this. He says, we don't rely on I'm paraphrasing, the generosity of the butcher and the brewer and the grocer. We don't rely on their generosity. We rely on their own self-interest greed. We rely on their own strong desire to make a lot of money. And only then do they provide a better, cheaper, better good for society. Now the problem, especially in modern America, and I will agree with you this, is called crony capitalism. And that is the idea that the government has this power that people can petition for.
I do have a problem that's not what the problem I was trying to talk.
Look, when big business can come along and lobby government for laws and regulations that will benefit them,
that's a huge fucking problem.
That's the big problem.
But that's not the problem. That
is a problem of big government. If you have government that doesn't have that power in the first place, you can't lobby them for shit.
Yeah. I mean, if we just outlawed lobbying, that would solve that problem.
It would not. Look, you have to realize that people's human nature is fundamentally flawed, all right? With great power, you become corrupt. And nobody is immune to that, unless you're Jesus Christ himself or God, all right?
I mean, there's corruption in government, and there's also corruption in business.
Yes, but corruption in business only occurs in the free market. You get eliminated because that's what the free market is. If you're petitioning government for benefits to make your strength, it's called monopoly. You can only get a monopoly through the government. And if the government has the power to enforce a monopoly, and they have the power, if the power exists in Washington, people are always going to be trying to get to it. And people are always going to be in Washington, big bureaucrats who have the power to be taken.
You can have a monopoly completely independent of government. You can have a business.
You can. And is that bad? Because it means you're providing a good or a service that people want. In a truly free market with no influence from a government, you only succeed if you're giving people what they want.
The problem with monopolies is the price control that they have. And I think it's the duty of government to
price control only exists from government.
No.
Who control prices then?
Businesses. If businesses didn't have
if they couldn't lobby government for minimum wage hikes, regulation
government
controls.
Is not doing their fucking job right now.
They're doing too much of a job. They're doing too much to benefit the businesses they want, and they're doing too much to enact regulations. If I'm a small business that hires
I think they're not putting in enough regulations.
Listen, if I'm Walmart, I can afford to hire a lot of people with high regulations.
So they're putting in too many regulations to fuck up small businesses, where it's way too hard to start a business in this nation.
Yes.
But they're being way too liberal with the regulations when it comes to Walmart and businesses like that, where they're allowed to buy goods from China, produce their shit in China,
yes,
and sell it. So a small business could never.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So
a small business can't compete with a big business.
Yeah, so I think it's government's duty to step in and say, hey, Walmart, stop fucking buying your shit in China and forcing out the American laborer, because we can't hire people for labor because the only people, like a small business isn't hiring enough people to like do anything to the unemployment.
Because they can't. They want to hire people, but the regulations are holding them back.
Yes.
The regulations that they're...
Yeah, so I'm thinking...
So Walmart comes along, we can afford those regulations.
The government's not doing their job. I'm saying what government's job is to do is to make it easy to start a business and make it easy for Americans...
Lower corporate tax rates, lower income tax rates, lower all these tax rates.
That would be a huge part of it, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, okay, so we would agree here, but what our debate right now was, where I see it, is not what government's doing, but what government should be doing. Or that's what I'm trying to say. I like government for what it should be doing. I don't like government for what it's doing. What it should be doing is making it really easy for an American to say, hey, I want to make...
How do they do that? How do they do that?
How do they do that?
And that changed my mind completely.
I agree with you. When you were asking me, back to abortion, sorry, part 2, has nothing to do with what we were talking about. We were way back to the beginning of part 1. Earlier before you were asking me, what was the difference between the baby being, in the stomach before birth and right after birth. And I said that they were born. You're right in that there's no difference. They're the same. Where we disagree is that individual.
So they're not an individual till they're 2-3 years old?
Until I don't know, it's indeterminate, there's no way to tell. But
then there should be no moral or legal repercussions for me killing you now, because you're just a bundle of cells.
No.
I can't, there's no...
That's not what I'm...
You're not an individual.
That's not
I can't
what I'm
say
saying.
when you're an individual, Matt, so I should be able to kill you.
No, I'm saying
it's
very... Alright, so there's a moment. It's very difficult to determine when that is, but I think it's when cognitive function begins in the brain.
This is an interesting moment, because this is the argument. It's the argument that we can't know when that argument is. We better be safe and say it's right when you're conceived.
No, but we have a generalization, and I think we can narrow it down to the point where we're like...
Do you realize how problematic that is?
Alright, listen, it's...
That's so problematic.
Listen to this
I should be able to abort my 3-year-old son.
Listen to this analogy. It would be called euthanize at that point.
So wait, let me ask you, do you disagree or agree that I should be able to abort my 3-year-old son?
We agree.
You think I should be able to?
If they don't have cognitive function, they don't have the ability to want...
So I should be able to kill a 3-year-old with no repercussions?
Not just any 3-year-old. If you murder someone else's 3-year-old, you don't know,
so it's up to my choice.
No.
This is the same argument of slavery. I can look at my slave and be like,
no,
you're not
no,
a person. I don't think you have personhood because I've chosen so. Now I have the right to kill you.
When we try to figure out, we came to 20 weeks is the latest that I know of that they allow legal abortions, except for a few cases which are fucked up cases.
Yeah. It's by state.
Yeah, but I think 20 weeks is the latest that it gets.
Yeah, I would disagree with that. I would disagree with any abortion. Legalized.
All right. Well, what I'm saying is, you said it was how problematic figuring it, trying to determine when a child, it's still my analogy
has consciousness or is a person.
Yeah, has the ability to not want to die. The problem with science, trying to figure out these delicate issues. The analogy that I was trying to bring up earlier before it got way out of context was horseshoes. The nails they use for horseshoes. They have a certain length of nail specifically designed for horseshoes. So they know when they nail this nail into the horse's hoof. They nail this nail in. They know because of the length that it is that it's not going to hurt the horse. It's not going to pierce any, nerve.
Okay.
And
so it's an argument of feeling pain.
So we came to that length of nail. You want to know how it came to that length of nail? Is the nails, somebody used nails that were too fucking long.
Okay.
And hurt the horse. And you got to crack a few eggs
Sure.
to make an omelet. So it's really
All right.
problematic to figure out when a child has...
Okay, whatever. All right, look, I will counter that completely. I don't care about horses. I care about humans. Okay, animal
I
rights
was
do
just
not.
using that as an analogy for when...
So should I be able to knock a nail into a human
That's
being?
not at all what I'm saying.
Some people are born, they can't feel pain. They're 5, 6, 7, 8. They grow up in adulthood. They can't feel pain. Their nerves are
Yeah, but they
incapable of
still
feeling
have the
pain.
cognitive function to not want to die.
Oh, so it's a matter of not wanting to die.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm saying.
I don't want to die. I do want to die. I have the right to kill you.
If I wanted to die, I think it should be legal to kill me.
All right. So what if I can't choose? It's still legal to kill me. I don't
No.
I don't have the capability to choose. I want to die or I don't want to die. I don't have that ability yet.
It's not legal.
I agree.
Fuck, you just brought up a great flaw in my argument.
I'm saying it doesn't matter whether you want to or you don't want to. These aren't.
No, but you just brought up a point that split my argument in twain. But I still don't agree with you. But everything I've been saying was wrong so far in this abortion debate. So, I guess I now don't think it's because of the cognitive function to be able to say, like, hey, I don't want to die.
Cheers.
But I still don't agree. I don't know what my argument is now, but I still... I feel the way I feel. Like
It's not about feelings. It's about
But
facts.
I think right now my argument is about feelings.
Let me tell you, the unborn are the most innocent and vulnerable people among us.
Yeah.
And I believe they're people, and they're the most innocent, the most vulnerable. And we should protect their rights, their right to live. And if the argument is, well, they're going to live a shitty life because they're born into poverty, that doesn't mean you get to violate their rights. I mean, the circumstances to which you're born have no bearing on whether you deserve to live or not.
I disagree.
That's your individual gumption. That's your individual, personhood to live. You're going to be born into poverty. So the merciful thing would be to just kill you. I mean, it's absurd. It's utterly absurd. It's not even an argument. It's like.
Yeah. So my argument is very flawed. But it's hard to explain. It is just a feeling, but I feel like I know, but it's just a feeling. I have no evidence to back this up other than my own experiences where I was at the time, where I didn't...
Would you rather your mother have aborted you and you never existed?
Yes. God damn it, yes. I'm the wrong person to ask that question. Yeah, I think my birth mother was on drugs when she was pregnant. And that, folks, is the end of the Ambush Podcast #1.